we have to do these ceremonies to get ourselves back to that 0 point where we just feel and are in our heart instead of in our head. Your body knows. This is a kind of natural intelligence. So normally you have to pay a lot of money to create new stem cells, but this comes out of the body. You can create new stem cells by holding that breath.
What is like a simple practice that they could do in their homes? Welcome back, everybody, to the Vibe Higher with Gigi podcast, where we dive into conversations that awaken the spirit, strengthen the body, and inspire the mind. Today we have a phenomenal, extraordinary guest, Marcel Hoff. I'm going to read off an intro for him. Marcel is a breathwork master, an extreme endurance trainer, and a healer who has spent decades exploring the power of the mind and body connection. He combines ancient techniques with modern science to guide people through profound transformation, from deep healing practices to pushing human limits in cold exposure, resilience, and peak performance. Marcel has trained thousands of people world round, showing them how to breathe through breath, mindset, and the nervous system, how it could be unlocked through hidden strength and create lasting change. So in this conversation, we'll explore Marcel's journey, his philosophy and resilience, and the simple yet powerful practices that anyone could use to bring more vitality and balance into their daily lives. Hello, Marcel. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for having me on the podcast. And let's see where it goes from here.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm very grateful to have you here. To start off, since this podcast is called Vibe Higher with Gigi, what have you done perhaps in today, this morning, in the past couple of days that perhaps helped you vibe higher and made you feel better in general?
Yeah, the last thing yesterday was with a brother. We had a little cold bath, sitting in the ice for 5-6 minutes, having a little talk about coming things I'm going to do. I'm going to create journeys to Poland. People can go 4 days in a deep dive into breathing, cold, meditation, using music, using vibration. And what I call it like a turning point, getting people beyond the story, beyond the conditioning and programming. And it's for me the same as for everybody else. We have to do these ceremonies to get ourselves back to that 0 point where we just feel and are in our heart instead of in our head. So what I do is the daily things. I did some yoga, some breathing, and depending on the time I have and the appointments like this, I adapted a little, but it's always like a daily practice. It's always a reminder of who I am and what I am beyond all the things I have to do and I have to program. So there's a lot of information coming in, but sometimes we have to go back to that 0 point where you just feel and are in your heart. That's what I do daily with yoga, a few times a week or almost daily, also cold bath, breathing, my exercises, and in between sometimes I play some football or some other physical activity, dancing, humming in the car, like all these things to get back to feeling, where we feel we are connected with life itself. So that's my daily practice for 45 years.
Awesome. Yeah, just to continue on the process, like what kind of brought you to where you are today, your life's journey into this breathwork and into this trying to find like the present day, the now, the feeling, the introspection? Maybe you could share a bit about your journey.
Yeah, I was like 12 or 13, and then I was just visiting my family. I lived in the south of Holland and was visiting my brother, he was 6 years older, Wim, which is now the Iceman, or called the Iceman, and doing these extreme things, but still doing the same things, going into the water, doing yoga, making music together, just enjoying life and trying out all kinds of physical and mental activities to change our state of mind. So that was the beginning. And what brought me there, it brought a good feeling at that moment without any science or whatever, but just like your inner science, you're knowing that, yeah, if you do this, it feels good. If you play football, it feels good. If you do yoga, it feels good. If you go into the water, you get more energy, you feel more clear. So that was kind of the beginning of this whole journey. But it is still going on now. And because I see certain, steps you can take to get back to that real feeling of here and now, it became like a method. But it's like everything, by doing it regularly, things become easier and you can tune in easier to that feeling. So that was my journey until now, and it is ongoing every day.
So it's practices that bring you like to the present moment to know who you are more in reality, and the repetition of doing these practices help. Like the more you do it, the easier it is to get yourself in that kind of present inner state of consciousness. Is that what?
Yes, I think everything is kind of muscle. Also the mind. You have to focus your attention, and just like this thing they say, what you give attention will grow. In Dutch they say, wat je aandacht geeft groeit. So where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So it's a very natural thing. So we have to use that attention muscle to put it in the things we want to instead of we don't want to. Because even if you give something negative attention by pushing it away, by suppressing it, you give it still attention, so you lose energy. So you have to become aware, where do you put your attention? Because we all have got a kind of certain amount of attention. But if it is too much distracted by whatever, the phone and all kinds of other stuff and all things you have to do instead of you want to do, then you forget about enjoying life and playing with life and just experimenting with the things you want to do. And then there is a natural development. So the more you do the things you like and where you can and learn, the more you develop. So we have to create healthy conditioning, healthy rituals that help you physically and mentally, that makes you stronger and more back to the here and now, because we live in the here and now. Even if you don't think so, it's still happening in the here and now.
Yeah, the past and the future take up a big part of our consciousness and our thinking patterns, right? And these things, like these practices, help us come back to the present, right? The now.
Yeah, I think that is the most important for every practice. If it is like a tea ceremony from Japan, whatever, humming or mantra singing, it's all bringing back to yourself into the body, because we're too much kind of in our mind. And if we go back to that feeling of into the body, we feel the natural connection with life itself. So for me, that feels better. That's why I practiced it and still are practicing it, because there is so much information every day coming in online and offline and all the social marketing and whatever is going on, and you can distract yourself with millions and millions of things, so we forget our own natural connection with life itself. That's why nature is so powerful, going into nature, because there the biggest distraction is nature itself, and it's a different energy, different vibration, where you feel you are connected with life itself. It's much easier. So we have to find our own ceremonies which remind you to connect again with that natural feeling. And that is my main purpose in every workshop, training or retreat I give. It's who I am and who we all are. And that is this life force, feeling that life force in the most powerful way, an easy way.
Awesome. Could you talk to us a bit more about the method and the breath work that you do teach during these trainings and these retreats that you hold, in terms of the techniques?
Yeah, I trained in breath work and the cold especially, but also yoga, but very naturally in a way, just trying out. We were experimenting, and I think my brother learned a lot about pranayama, but we made it our own thing, using the pranayama in our own way. and holding the breath and holding it longer and using tones. So we created in a way our own method where you use the breath and bring in a way, just simply said, a lot of oxygen, a lot of life force, a lot of energy. And what then happens after a certain time, like 20-30 minutes, I discovered there is like a turning point. And that means there is this natural intelligence of the body where it brings everything into the light. So you bring a lot of breath, oxygen into the body, it goes to the mitochondria, the energy suppliers of the cells. And yeah, many times I work with psychics and all these people who can see things, but one of these people said they saw the cells from inside out lightening up. That means you're going to feel more. So it brings so much oxygen into the body, everything is going to be in the light. And that means you will feel it. So old suppressed feelings of generations and maybe of past lives, if you believe in past lives, but for me, the generations are also in your cells, in your DNA. That becomes into the light. So it gives you a possibility to bring everything into the light and to transform whatever is suppressed. And the moment you don't suppress it anymore, the energy will free itself. So there is an enlightening feeling. That means that energy is free, and then you can use that same free energy again for something you want. So to bring people back to the place where they can choose and where they don't feel stuck anymore, that's why I use the breath especially. It brings you to that point where you feel, okay, I cannot resist the whatever feeling there is anymore. And if you trust, you can breathe through every suppression, through every feeling. And then, if you breathe through it, you come back to that natural feeling. And then there is always a release.
Just coming back to like just this breath work, like bringing the light within, which is like kind of like stuck inside of us, right? So it's like it's just opening like layers and layers so that we're able to bring out that light and not be so much in our heads, because a lot of our thoughts, come from different sources and they don't even belong to us, right?
Yeah, that's why I also use hypnotic suggestions, because I bring people in that state where they change their brain waves in theta and sometimes even in delta. And just like a child, the first 6-7 years we are in this child in theta. That means the brain waves are very slow, and there you are more susceptible to imagination and also all the things people say. You believe it almost without filter. After 7 years, that changes. But and then these first 7 years, so we heard a lot of nonsense also, all the things you have to do, you have to be, etc., etc. And as a little child, you're almost still very empty. You believe a lot because it gives you a possibility to survive with all these thoughts. You need that information. But even if you get the information of your parents or educators who have their own trauma and old pain, you inherit that also. And later, when you become an adult, whatever that might be, you've got all these ideas and thoughts in your head. And sometimes, so first we have to discover what are our own thoughts, or what are the thoughts of other people, other generations even, from your parents or your grandparents, and to discover that. But it's interesting, during the breath, all that stuff can come up. And it comes up mostly as resistance. And I think our natural being is living like natural energy. There is no resistance. There is just like a very curiosity, enjoying life, playing with life, just like little children where there is no so much inhibition. So we have to get back to that state of mind, and during the breath that happens naturally. People come in this deep relaxed state, theta, where they can feel again, where they relax, and by bringing in a lot of oxygen, a lot of light, a lot of life force, and scientifically is a lot of oxygen goes to the mitochondria. That means you're going to feel more. Your burning becomes better, your focus becomes better, you can put an intention, but at the same time you get out of your head, because so much light is coming in that you feel more. So your focus cannot be in your thoughts anymore, it's in your body. And the more you feel, the more you can relax. You have a choice again. But if I bring in also like hypnotic suggestions and remind people who they are instead of who they think they are, so that's why I say you're great, you're beautiful, you're life force itself, and whatever you feel, it's all good and you're worth it, because that feels natural. There you can relax into your own being, and the more you relax into your own being, everything is embraced, all of life. And if you can embrace all of life, you fall back into your core feeling, which is embracing all of life, enjoying all of life. And even if it is sometimes difficult, there are emotions, and it's all okay. That's part of life. So you change your state of mind, you come in theta, delta, deep relaxation, you relax, and finally you can let go of all these nonsense, these stupid beliefs in which you're not good enough, you have to do all kinds of stuff which you don't want really. And finally you find back your own core, where you know what you want, where you would know what your feeling is. Because that's the natural feeling, it's your natural being.
I love that. Thank you. Was there one time while I'm doing like your breathwork session where you saw like maybe an unexpected, of a deep transformation in one of your students that kind of stands out throughout the years?
I had so many different transformations, and it sounds maybe strange, but sometimes people see God, see Jesus, see they've got old pains, old trauma from 15, 20 years just disappears because they feel it. Instead of thinking about it, being around it, staying in a circle, they go deeper into the body, they feel it. And the moment they feel it, there's no problem anymore. Because there is just feeling and nothing else. We make the problems because we suppress the pain. At the moment we just feel again, and it's okay. Even if it is a deep emotion, we feel. So there's this deep longing back to feeling. I had some people seeing all this stuff, but also people who had the deepest ecstatic feeling, just even better than sex, she said, but like a whole body sexual feeling. So that can happen during the breath hold, because the fluids go up to the head, to the pineal gland, and then you can get that feeling of a whole body ecstasy. So that was funny there was a woman like 6-7 years ago in Bali, somewhere in Uluwatu. I did a retreat for 30 days.
Wow.
That came up. But it doesn't matter always. I always say, because you bring in more life energy, always the right things happen. You can trust life, and the more you trust life more, you get exactly what you need, not always what you want. There's the old songs of the Rolling Stones, you don't always get what you want. But if you're lucky, you get what you need. And I think that it's important. The more we trust that part, that you get what you need instead of what you want, you don't have to figure it out anymore with your head. And you can relax in life itself. It gives you exactly what you need. And the breath is a beautiful way to get you in that position where you can relax more. Because sometimes we are bombarded with all these thoughts, all this information, especially nowadays with these big changes with artificial intelligence and changes of, the whole world politics is mad. So it's a big madness now going on. So we have to find our own way back, and that means our own autonomy, our own clarity. And the breath is a beautiful way to get you back to your own core feeling, your own heart, where you know what is clear, what is right, what is wrong. Not from the mind, but from feeling.
And once we like remove those layers, like those feelings and the true essence really come from the universe or from God or from however you want to like see it. It's like the essence is really the essence of all kind, of all beings, of like everyone kind of like sharing that true essence that we all have. Like the truth comes from the ether a lot of the times, right? Or is that?
Yeah, and especially we are that. So everything is that. So it's a recognition of who you are, what we are in this unity. It's like the heart. It's the life force, the loving force. And then you don't look up to anybody or anyone anymore. There's nothing higher or lower. There's just this being. And we can recognize we've got all that in internal feeling, internal knowing. So it's going back to that knowing where you feel everything is okay. We are just here having our own puzzle here in life. and enjoying life as it is. And you've got your own things which you have to work out, and then you can use breath, you can use cold, but you can also use other ceremonies. But it's all reminding you back to that core feeling. In that core feeling, you know you are totally okay. And life is beautiful and life is great, but sometimes we get lost, and that's okay. So it's very important to remind each other to go back to that feeling and just remind, and in whatever ceremony, whatever way, then you can be together and respect each other, and even if we are different, because that's the beauty. We are all the same life force, but we are all expressing ourselves in a different way, and that's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, you mentioned 30-day retreats. I feel like 30-day nonstop, like a Marcel Hoff breathing would really bring someone to a certain state of something, of release, of consciousness.
Yeah, it was like it was the opening of a retreat in Uluwatu. A big, beautiful retreat on a big rock, like 60, 70 meters high or even more. Looking out at the ocean, so every day we had this breathing, and it was an ongoing development with the breathing, with exercises, with cold, and it was dancing. It was all beautiful, but also the connection, being together, enjoying life, feeling more alive, more aliveness. And more back to the core, where you feel, okay, everything becomes clear. Where you feel you know where to go, what to do, what to feel. That's enough. Mm-hmm. And every time that becomes like your new basis, instead of being in the head, more in the heart, in your body, then things become natural. So I don't know if 30 days is necessary, a few days, 5 days maybe, but whatever. It's always a reminder of who you are, and that is the most important thing in life.
So, to move on, like, you have put your body into some very like strenuous and extreme situations, and I was just wondering, like, what helped you through those episodes? Like, what helped you to overcome fear in those kind of like extreme situations? And maybe you could describe one of them.
Sometimes the beauty is if you go just like in the cold water, if you go in the cold water, the water itself asks, how do you say it? Asks so much energy, so much attention. Your attention cannot go to all kinds of other parts because you have to survive. So the only thing, you have to go back into your body. So it's a natural way to get your attention back from all kinds of whatever thoughts, ideas, future, past. Your body needs to survive. It's all about you surviving. So your energy and attention goes back to your body, but that feels great too. Then you feel really maybe for the first time totally into your body, even if it is cold, but you feel. And afterwards, there's a beautiful release of dopamine, serotonin. 250% more, I heard, more than drugs and cocaine, but with the effect only that it is natural. It's coming from your own body. There is no depletion. It's activating the dopamine. So especially for stress, people in psychological problems, psychiatric problems, it's a beautiful way to feel good again, to feel life again if you get out. And at the same time, the bloodstream becomes better. So you stimulate the cardiovascular system. We've got 100,000 kilometers of blood vessels in our body, so you train all the muscles around the blood vessels. Your heart doesn't have to pump so heavy anymore because all these vessels, all these muscles around the blood vessels are trained. They open up and go back again, so they are trained because of the cold. So if you do that regularly, your heart rate slows down. So these extremes is all, for me, a way back to my feeling. And the more you do it, the less you need it. But at the same time, there are so much benefits, physically and mentally, for your body. Like going into the cold is like a stress. But it's natural stress, and it's short, and you do it consciously. So you learn how to deal with stress. And stress is one of the biggest factors of all diseases, almost. So if you learn how to deal with stress, you can stay in the middle, like eye in the storm. You can stay in the middle, you relax even If a lot of things are going on, you're still clear. And that's what you learn into the cold. So I learned in a natural way by these extremes to stay in the middle, whatever happens. And the more you recognize that feeling, the more you can tune in. And the less you need the outside stuff to tune in. So the tuning in becomes easier. That's why I use the extremes, but now I'm older. I still do the exercise because of the physical side effects, the positive physical side effects, more dopamine, more serotonin, easier to deal with stress. You feel better, you feel more alive, you've got more oxygen, you learn better to deal with your body in a physical and mental way. So it's the basis of health, physically and mentally. And the beauty is all the indigenous people have done this for thousands and thousands and even longer years because they knew already. And in the southeast you see that, in the Indian cultures, they use the breath, they use the cold, they use the exercises. That's exactly what we did. But because the science came in, it became like a worldwide development now. And now all the wellness resorts and all the wellness people use breath, use the cold. Yoga was already longer, but especially the breath and cold became like an explosion the last 15 years. Now they're doing it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. But it's like getting yourself in that cold. You have no choice but to focus. Just all thoughts seem to like disappear. You're just like focusing on that, what the survival, that instantaneous like survival. And then the more you do that, the more your brain is conditioned to handle that stress, right? Is what you were saying?
Yeah. The beauty of the cold is you get in an uncomfortable place. So you have to get out of your mind. You have to get used to being uncomfortable. Mm. And then you've got two choices, to fight uncomfortable or to stop fighting. And then in the water, in the cold, you cannot fight because you lose energy if you fight. So you have to relax in that difficult situation. So what you learn, if you can relax in a difficult situation, you learn how to deal with difficult situation, even if it is physical. For your body, physical stress and mental stress, your body reacts the same. So it's a beautiful way, in a conscious, simple way and safe, you can learn how to deal with stress. Mm. So if you learn how to deal with stress by going into the cold in a conscious, safe way, then you can deal with stress also in your work or with your family or in whatever situation. So it's a beautiful way. So it's not only physical, it's also mental. And if we learn how to deal with stress, staying at ease with stress, instead of dis-ease, and dis-ease becomes fighting. Dis-ease is also the feeling of, or there is stress, then your body cramps, and then finally, if your body is too long in a cramp, in a stress situation, it comes out in a disease. It's logic. It's all very simple logic. So we have to train again, being at ease with dis-ease, with uncomfortable situations. And if we can train that, we are stronger than that uncomfortable situation, and we can relax in that uncomfortable situation. Then we can deal with life easier.
And even if it is not with cold, it's a good lesson in your day-to-day life is to put yourself in stressful situations. And the more you do that, the more at ease you are in a stressful situation, in an endeavor that you might like and want to continue doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you don't have to do these extremes. It's beautiful, but it's good to challenge your body a little because it awakens this innate healing power. So that is very important. It's not about how far can I go, how long can I get the breath in. No, it's just challenging your body a little. What needs to do something else than staying in the same conditioning, because this conditioning is like a sleep. And not a good sleep, but you don't see so much, don't feel so much anymore. So we have to awaken that body to that natural feeling again. And sometimes we have to wake it up because we are so, overloaded with information and all the things we have to do. We don't know anymore what it is just to enjoy life. So you have to get back to that simple, innate feeling where we just feel life, feel the wind, feel the cold, feel your body. And that's why all these ceremonies out there. It's not just like, doing the same ceremony and get conditioned in that way again, and how beautiful postures you can make. But about feeling life, feeling the connection with everybody and everyone.
Yeah, like a lot of yogis out there think, well, like traditionally, the more you do the practice, the less you feel. But I think in our day to day lives, or trying to do the healing, I think feeling whatever's inside is important, because we try to like numb our feelings through, for example, alcohol or drugs or other techniques. But it is important to feel those feelings, whatever they are, the ecstasy, the fear, the pain, the trauma.
Yeah, there is no everything. If you can embrace everything, so there is anger and fear and whatever, everything is okay. Then you can feel everything of life instead of, oh, this is okay, that is not okay. We give life a meaning. So what meaning you give it, you can become conscious, and you have got choice again. So with the same feeling, which feels very uncomfortable, if you say cold, it's heat, we can feel that ourselves. We are so strong, our consciousness is so strong. If you are hypnotized, you can experience cold as heat and the other way around. So how strong is our consciousness? If you become aware of that possibility, that you've got choice, you can give life a meaning, then instead of uncomfortable can become like a challenge. Even to put a different perception on it, so it's also playing with perception. You can see how you can color life in whatever way, and that gives enormous freedom. So you're not stuck anymore in one way of looking at something.
It's like letting that energy flow, whatever it is. It's just like life is that feeling. Practical wisdom for our listeners, if someone is listening and wanted to start like breath work today, what is like a simple practice that they could do in their homes, in their daily lives, that you could recommend to them?
Yeah, there are so many practices on YouTube and all social media. There is not, this is the best way, depending on the state of mind. If they just want the relaxation, just simply breathing in and longer out. If you do that like 10 times, your heart rate already slows down. You relax more, you get more grounded. But just simple using breath and more breathing in deeply and breathing out deeply. If you do that, if you begin just like a few minutes, being outside with your feet on the ground, feeling the connection with the Mother Earth. There's an electromagnetic field, and it's an easy way to let go of the electromagnetic fields of computer and telephone and all that stuff. Using the breath, using the light, it's all about connection. But if you breathe more, so like 10 or 15 times for the first time, then you get already like an effect. You feel already the difference in your state of mind, in your feeling. So that's a very powerful thing, just like deeply in, longer out. If you do it 3 times, deeply in and longer out, you feel yourself already grounding, and longer out.
I already feel it.
3 times already. And I feel already more grounded. Your heart rate slows down. That can show it. So there is already a relaxation. So you can imagine if you do this 2 minutes, if you are too much in your mind, you get back into your feeling. You are more grounded. You feel the ground, literally more. You feel more at ease. Your brainwaves slow down. If you want a deeper experience, you do it like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And then if you hold your breath, they show the whole brain is lightening up. So new pathways are made, and you've got neuroplasticity and all that stuff. They saw the whole brain lighting up, even parts which you normally don't see so much. By pushing the energy up, focusing the energy, then you see all the brain lighting up. They saw it in scans and brain scans. So there are enormous possibilities, and we are just figuring that out. The normal science is still after, because this is like the inner science, the science of the East, which they knew already for a long time. You can create these ecstatic feelings, also like with plant medicine, then only without plant medicine, but just using breath. If you go deep enough, and if you know how, So these experiences, these metaphysical experiences, you can initiate by breath. But it's even not about these experiences, but getting out of your head, getting out of your normal circle, getting out of the habit that feels enlightening. And the more you do it, the more easier it becomes. And there are 10, 20 or 30 kinds of breathing, but the basic is getting a lot of life force in, a lot of energy. Your whole body will lighten up, will feel more. Your endurance becomes better, your clarity becomes better, you feel more alive. And yeah, you've got now one of these biohackers. He said you will, your life span will be 7 years more if you do that daily, if you keep on doing that. So these simple things, you have to make it a habit. That's the most important and the most difficult thing maybe for most people. Because as human beings, we are very easy into a habit. So to change habit takes some time. But if you know all the possibilities and all the positive effects, yeah, then it's in fact, you don't have got a choice. And at the same time, you got more choice if you choose it.
Oh, you have no choice, but you have more choices if you do choose.
Yeah, it means it's so important to do that, in fact, you don't have got a choice. It would be stupid not to choose it. That's what I mean. So you got always choice. But why would you choose something which is not good instead of choosing something which is good and doesn't take so much energy and effort?
Awesome.
So it's an easy choice.
It's an easy choice to do it, just to start doing it.
Yeah.
I know one of the parts that you mentioned is that the breath hold is the part of the breath work that is starting to get is starting to be my favorite. And you say that it's like it creates new neural pathways in your brain, eliminating the gray matter.
Cells that holding 30 to 90 seconds, holding the breath, and you have to build that up. New stem cells are formed. So normally you have to pay a lot of money to create new stem cells, but this comes out of the body. You can create new stem cells by holding that breath. Your body comes in a kind of survival mechanism, then it's creating these new stem cells. They discovered this also. So it's a very powerful way to how do you say it? This inner healing, to initiate this inner healing of the body. It's very powerful because it's dull, because we are so used to comfort. It doesn't do so much anymore. But if we activate it by the breath, by the cold, you activate this inner healing of the body, and then miracles happen. Literally, people get lost of their traumas. Physical things, even people with cancer until stage 3 and 4 was recovered because you bring in more breath, more oxygen. And like 100 years ago, there was this, what was it again? This natural healer, naturopath, Otto Warburg, he told already, where there's a lot of oxygen, cancer cannot develop. Whoa. What you bring with the breath is more oxygen into the body, so it can reverse the whole course of the cancer. You have to keep on doing that, and at the same time you don't feed the cancer anymore by putting on koolhydraten, how do you say it? Carbs, sugar, and that's logic. It's all logic. If you feed the cancer with all that stuff, yeah, that then keeps on growing, whatever you do. So you have to stop the things that are feeding the cancer, bringing in more breath, more oxygen, and there are many cases where there was a reverse of cancer and all kinds of diseases. Because oxygen is mostly the biggest part. If there is less oxygen, diseases can grow.
Wow.
In an acidic environment. So that is important. Simple things. It's all science. And the more we use that science and the more we practice our body, the less is susceptible for disease.
Wow. So it's like keeping our bodies as alkaline as possible. We don't need to go into cryogenic chambers or oxygen tanks, just like breathing in,
all that helps, but like oxygen tanks and cryogenic chambers can help also, but even the cold, because there's a direct confrontation with the cold, even more than air, like these cryogenic chambers, is even more intense. So, and it is not so much. You can jump in cold water wherever, and it doesn't cost anything, or create your own ice bath. And you just have to do it like a few minutes a week. And I think scientifically, they said 11 minutes a week in really cold water has the biggest effect. After it becomes not so much more. And I think also like with heat, also with saunas, it's all about getting your body in an uncomfortable situation. Saunas can be great too, but in a situation where your body has to work, then it creates this innate feeling, this innate healing power. Yeah. So it activates the healing power of the body. So you have to go to that point. You can activate it. And the breath and the cold is a beautiful way. Not only physically, but even more maybe mentally. Because you come in back in that freedom. And if you feel free again, you've got choice again, you feel enlightened, then all these natural drugs come up. Like serotonin, dopamine, feel-good drugs. It's all in your body, but you have to activate it.
You have to do the work to activate it. It's one of the best feelings.
Yeah, in the beginning. Yeah, but it's once you have to, if you walk that path, your body knows. This is a kind of natural intelligence. Your body will know easier the next time and the next time and the next time. Then you create a natural, easy habit. Your body will know and can align to that feeling easier. So you need less.
Awesome.
So that's the beauty too. So we learn how to activate it. We learn how to align with that feeling. It becomes easier, but becomes more your natural state of being.
So we just got to do it.
That's life. You just have to do it. If you don't do anything, it's...
Maybe there's some final words you would like to tell the audience, and maybe some exciting new projects that you have in store, and where our viewers could follow you. We're going to put the links down below in the description. Something you're excited about?
I've got a lot of. I want to do Zoom sessions worldwide and get people more into breathing in an easy way. So I do a weekly breathing wherever I am. So I don't know yet. They just can. If people are interested, they can go to my to my website, marcelhoff.com. 1st of September. We're going to open up a retreat center here in Holland, in Stroe. And then people can join like a daily, meeting with the cold and the breath. But I do twice a week like breathing exercises and also with the cold. I think once a month like a 2 days retreat. People can go deeper with the breath and the cold. And coming winter, I'm going to do a Poland expedition like 4 days for people who are interested. Around 1250, but it's all including food, sleeping, exercises, walks through the mountains, going into the ice, sauna, and so on, music. But it's all about connecting, going deeper into your inner power, which is this healing power, which is activating it. So this Poland is one expedition. The coming months will be here in Holland. Yeah, and in the winter, I don't know yet. Maybe we were also figuring out already an island tour in New Zealand, but it would be January, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, I definitely, from the workshop that I did with you in Uluwatu, I definitely felt the shift. Like it was really powerful. And I loved the way you brought in just a lot of like wisdom during the drumming and the breath work. And I really recommend people coming to your workshops and your Zoom calls and your retreats. Definitely highly recommended. And hopefully I could come to one of them soon as well.
Yeah, it would be great, and it's also just fun. It's we can talk a lot, but finally we want to experience life, so you have to do it. And it's not about dreams is in a safe surroundings, because safety is the most important thing. We have to create a culture where everything is allowed to be there, whatever you feel, whatever you think, whatever there is. We are all human beings with our own puzzles, problems. But if we come together, we can listen to each other and respect each other and each other's journey in this beautiful planet. And you've got a beautiful group together. We can feel connected. And the thing I can bring in with the breath and cold is get people even more to that core feeling. And it's beautiful. It's like an extra piece of energy where you can transform whatever is going on into a beautiful piece of art.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Marcel, for being on our show today. And We'll see you again soon, and whilst we breathe.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
And see you somewhere in the universe.